Have you ever wondered how someone with a polished image and calm demeanor could hide something so unsettling that it leaves people questioning everything about them? What if I told you the person in question isn't just a household name in politics, but someone who's now being called the most indecent woman in the world? Stay with me, because in this video, I'm going to reveal the truth about Dana Perino, a name you've probably heard before, but not like this. Dana Perino, a former White House press secretary turned influential media figure, is admired by many for her professionalism and sharp communication skills. On the surface, she seems untouchable. But beneath that carefully curated image, there are layers of actions and decisions that have left a trail of doubt and controversy. In this video, we'll look closely at why she's earned such a polarizing reputation. And here's why it's worth sticking around. By the end of this video, you won't just know why people are questioning her integrity, you'll also see how this story connects to a much larger issue that affects us all. If you've ever felt like the truth gets buried under polished speeches and perfect smiles, then this is a story you need to hear. So buckle up, because the truth is more gripping than you think. And there's a surprising twist waiting for you at the very end. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. Let's talk about Dana Perino. On the surface, she's a picture of professionalism, sharp, composed, and articulate. You've probably seen her in one of two roles, as the White House press secretary during the George W. Bush administration or as a leading voice on Fox News. She's built a career that many admire, one that looks like a blueprint for success in politics and media. But here's where the story starts to take a turn. What if this seemingly flawless image is exactly why so many people feel uneasy? Dana wasn't just a face on the screen or a voice behind the podium. She was the trusted representative of one of the most controversial administrations in modern U.S. history. And while most people in her position fade into the background once their term is over, Dana managed to use her influence to carve out an even larger platform in the media world. Her ability to remain calm and collected under pressure earned her a reputation as a skilled communicator. But that same skill raises an important question: how much of what we saw was real, and how much was carefully calculated? It's not just about what she said, but what she chose not to say. What truths were left out, and what stories were smoothed over to fit a narrative. There's a reason people are starting to question the legacy she's building. In the next section, we'll dig into her role during one of the most turbulent periods in recent political history, and why her actions during that time are being scrutinized. And trust me, this is where the cracks in her polished image begin to show. Let's rewind to Dana Perino's time as White House press secretary. It was a period marked by some of the most significant controversies in modern U.S. history. The Iraq War, Hurricane Katrina, and the broader fallout from 9/11. These were defining moments that shaped public opinion and altered countless lives. And right in the middle of it all was Dana, standing at the podium, defending decisions that many believe caused irreparable harm. Take the Iraq War, for instance. Reports of chaos on the ground, mounting civilian casualties, and growing skepticism about the reasons for going to war painted a grim picture. But when Dana Perino spoke, the narrative was different. Words like progress and stability were used to describe situations that were anything but stable. While the public struggled with the reality of the war, Dana's polished delivery offered a version of events that felt detached from the truth. Or think about Hurricane Katrina. The federal government's response, or lack of it, was widely criticized as one of the worst in U.S. history. And yet, when questions were raised about accountability, Dana maintained a calm demeanor, deflecting blame and framing the administration's response in a more favorable light. These moments weren't just about spinning the story, they were about reshaping the narrative to fit a specific agenda. It's easy to argue that Dana was just doing her job. But here's the uncomfortable part: at what point does doing your job cross a line into enabling harm? As the public face of the administration, she wasn't just presenting information, she was shaping how millions of people understood critical events. And it doesn't end there. Her ability to stay composed under pressure wasn't just a skill, it became a tool to mask the deeper issues at hand. This is why many believe that her role during these controversies goes beyond simple professionalism. It raises the question: was her calm exterior a shield to protect her? Or was it part of a larger strategy to protect a system that was failing millions? In the next section, we'll look at how Dana's loyalty to the Bush administration and her decisions during this time laid the groundwork for her current influence, and why that loyalty is seen by some as her greatest flaw. There's more to this story, and it only gets more unsettling from here. Now, let's talk about loyalty, a trait that can either be a virtue or a flaw, depending on how it's applied. Dana Perino's loyalty to the Bush administration is undeniable. She stood by their side during one of the most polarizing periods in modern politics, defending decisions that many believed were deeply flawed. But here's the problem: loyalty without accountability can lead to dangerous outcomes. During her tenure, Dana wasn't just supporting policies, she was helping to shield an administration that faced accusations of mismanagement, secrecy, and even dishonesty. Think about the Iraq War again. Even as evidence mounted that the justification for the war was shaky, Dana's public statements rarely wavered. She remained steadfast in her defense of the administration's actions, choosing to focus on optimism and forward-looking rhetoric rather than addressing the hard truths. But it didn't stop there. Loyalty can become harmful when it means turning a blind eye to the consequences of bad decisions. Hurricane Katrina exposed systemic failures at the highest levels of government. Yet, rather than acknowledging those failures and demanding accountability, Dana stayed on script, framing the administration's efforts in a positive light. This unwavering loyalty raises an important question. Did she ever stop to ask herself if her actions were right, or was she simply following orders? There's a fine line between being a team player and enabling harmful decisions. And in Dana's case, many believe that line was crossed repeatedly. Her allegiance to the Bush administration didn't just define her time as press secretary, it became the foundation for her next chapter. When she transitioned into media, her ability to frame narratives and deflect criticism followed her. Now, with a massive platform, she continues to shape public opinion, but the same questions remain. Is her loyalty rooted in personal conviction? Or is it about protecting her image and the system that elevated her? In the next section, we'll explore how Dana has used her media career to expand her influence and why some people see it as an extension of the same tactics she employed in the White House. If you thought her loyalty was questionable, wait until you see how it plays out in her current role. After leaving the White House, Dana Perino didn't fade into the background like many former press secretaries. Instead, she transitioned into a highly visible role on Fox News, a platform that gave her an even larger audience and a more significant influence on public discourse. At first glance, her career move seemed natural. Someone with her experience and communication skills was bound to thrive in the media. But this new chapter came with its own set of concerns. As a political commentator, Dana quickly became a trusted voice for millions. Her calm and polished delivery made her seem approachable, reasonable, and fair. But beneath that polished surface, some argue, the same tactics she used as press secretary were still at play. Complex and divisive issues were simplified, uncomfortable truths were downplayed, and narratives that aligned with her political affiliations were subtly reinforced. For example, when discussing ongoing social and political issues, Dana has often been accused of deflecting attention from systemic problems. Instead of addressing the deeper causes of inequality or injustice, she tends to focus on lighter, less controversial aspects of the conversation. This strategy doesn't just maintain her image, it also shapes how her audience perceives these issues. And that's the heart of the criticism. With her platform, Dana has the power to shed light on critical issues, challenge the status quo, and advocate for real change. But instead, many feel she uses her influence to maintain a comforting status quo, a narrative that keeps her audience engaged without pushing them to question the bigger picture. So, what does this all mean? Is Dana Perino really the most indecent woman in the world? Or is she simply a product of a system that rewards loyalty and conformity over integrity and accountability? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Here's why this matters. People like Dana Perino shape the way we think, vote, and talk about important issues. Their influence extends far beyond what we see on the surface. By examining her actions, both past and present, we're not just evaluating one person, we're challenging the broader systems of power and media that shape our society. If this video has given you something to think about, don't let the conversation stop here. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear your perspective. Do you agree, disagree, or see something we've missed? Because at the end of the day, conversations like these are where real change begins. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.